Okay, welcome everybody. We are going to start an FRC LabVIEW basic training, even though this says National Instruments, and I work for National Instruments. I would like to introduce you to myself and explain that this is not endorsed by National Instruments, so if you are watching this for free somewhere on the web at a future time, then you're getting what you pay for, and take it for what you paid for it. I would like to give some thank yous at the beginning to some people who helped create this presentation, make it possible. John Hildyard made the base presentation that I'm presenting from, although I've modified the first half of it significantly. I'm not sure if we'll be able to make this presentation available, but if it were going to be available, it would be at ni.com/FRC. I'd like to thank the Chicago Knights and Jackie Moore for providing the space for us to do this presentation. And to Level Up, which is in the Ford City Mall, which used to be a Ford factory and also a factory for the Tucker car company, which I find really fascinating. Great, we're doing engineering here this morning. Some things that you should know: I'm not good at PowerPoint, so my PowerPoint slides that I've created will be terrible, and that's okay. Read them for what they're worth, read the words on them, and see if that you can use them. You all should know that I'm presenting in front of a room of people, and I'm going to let them know that my mother's a computer scientist and got her degree while I was growing up. So from the time that I was 9 until the time that I was about 15, I watched otherwise normal people behaving like computer scientists, which made it so that I did not want to be a computer scientist when I grew up. I'm a physicist, not a computer scientist, and so all of the stuff that we're going to talk about is me trying to explain computer science. My act of rebellion is to not have liked computer science. And if there are any discrepancies between what I say in this presentation and what you find at usfirst.org, then they are right. Okay, National Instruments is not FIRST. I don't work for FIRST. I'm using 6 years of knowledge of having worked with about 1,000 teams at maybe 30 regional competitions to try to get some information out to you that's helpful. If anything that I say contradicts what's at usfirst.org, what's at usfirst.org is right. In fact, it's also true if anything contradicts between ni.com/FRC and usfirst, usfirst is right. Okay? We'll talk about what resources are available to you in a bit. And this particular presentation isn't endorsed by National Instruments. So what we're going to do over the next bit of time is we're going to do an overview of installing the software and where to go to get help. We're going to look at hardware fundamentals, the IT that's behind the robot, and some FRC specific software that you'll need to use to make the robot work. So after about an hour, we won't have touched LabVIEW. So this is not LabVIEW training. This is an NI-centric view of FRC controller programming training. And to be a controller, to be a programmer for the controlling system, you have to understand a lot about the robot. You can't just sit off in a corner and twiddle your fingers on the computer and then throw it over to the robot team and say, have it go work. It doesn't work that way. So you're going to have to learn a lot about the robot. That's what we're going to do in the first hour. The next hour is going to be no robot at all. We're just going to learn LabVIEW. We're not going to touch the robot. Okay? Then we're going to bring both of those things back together. We're going to look at the LabVIEW version for FRC. We're going to make some tweaks to the FRC code to try to improve it for you all. And then we're going to deploy the FRC robot code to the robot. In fact, we're going to do that after the first hour because it turns out you can make a working robot without knowing any LabVIEW whatsoever. Okay? And then we'll talk about additional resources and next steps and maybe some advanced topics. So first of all, where to go for help? Write this down somewhere. ni.com or usfirst.org. I'm going to continue recording so that I can go over to the website for usfirst.org, usfirst.org. There we go. And look for the FRC tab. Whoops, looks like my wireless has gone missing, so let's try to reconnect to that. And so you can see this is live, and this is this is an actual engineer working through this problem. usfirst.org. There we go. So when you come to usfirst.org, you will see that there is an FRC tab. The FRC, it's not a tab, but the FRC option gets you to resources. These are resources that will help you work through any problem on your own. You don't have to call NI, you don't have to call US First. This has got all the information you need, including information about the control system. So you can set up your hardware, you can set up your software, how to program your radio for home use, how to get the Rio reimaged. All of that stuff is in here. That make sense? I want to see some nodding. So the first thing that you should do when you have a question is say, is it going to be in a manual somewhere? Try to go to US First and get the correct manual. Those are under Resources, Control System, and Technical Resources. This also, by the way, has information about the game. So very good teams usually print out as many manuals as they can and bring them with them to competition. Or if you don't want to kill that many trees, put it on an iPad, put it on your computer. Have access to all of the game information at all times in your lab and when you come to the competition. There are also resources at ni.com/FRC. If you have not installed your software yet, and this group already has, if you've not installed your software already, download the software or grab the software from your kit of parts, look at the envelope that comes in that kit of parts. On it there's a serial number which will allow you to go through the installation process. You've got to install both FRC software and updates. So there is a download FRC software option. It is not, you not only have to download the FRC software, but you have to download the updates. The updates keep your robot safe at competition. You will not be able to compete if you do not have the most recent set of updates on your computer. I will say right now that if US First or National Instruments find something wrong with our code between now and the first competition or now and any competition, we may push out an update. Those are asynchronous updates you should have as part of your process every Monday. You should either come to this site or usfirst.org and look for a new update. If there is a new update, you'll be able to see it. I think the update that came out was the 6.0 update. That's the original update that comes at day one. There is a question. Yes, go ahead.
We only take the updates that come through first with that. We don't take auto updates.
So the question is, do we take auto updates? I don't know the answer to that. If it were me.
The first guide says to uncheck that box.
Okay, so if the first guide says it, what's my rule number one? The first guide is right. So if they say to uncheck that, then you guys uncheck it. Okay?
The software keeps trying to bring it in.
So if our software keeps trying to bring it in, you can apparently bring up new software updates. You can apparently uncheck that option, and you should do that. Thank you for that question. Any others before we go on? Check the updates. After you put your robot in a box and send it to your first competition, guess what? There could be a new update. So check during the transportation season. Check the day before you go to your first, or the day of, the morning that you go to your first competition. Check for an update. It's the most important thing to have done before you get to the competition. Good? Great. Okay, back to the training. There is also a site called Chief Delphi. I think it's still around. If Chief Delphi is still around, you can go there for updates. But remember that usfirst.org is the place for support. I'm going to continue recording again. I want to show you one other thing on the ni.com/FRC website. So at the ni.com/FRC website, there is also LabVIEW training. So if you don't like what you get for the next 4 hours, there are other options for you. There's another set of training that you can download and go through. And there are forums that we host as well, although Chief Delphi and usfirst.org forums are probably just as good. Okay? Any questions about ni.com/FRC? Good. Let's continue. All right, so we've got to do a thought experiment at the beginning. One of the major problems that I see in FRC teams is that the programmer sits off by himself and the team does what it does, and they rarely talk to each other until there's a problem. So I want you to think about how integrated it is to do something in your own body. All right, so close your eyes for a second and imagine there's a button out in front of you, a big red button, and you've got to press it. I want you to, on a piece of paper for the next couple seconds, write down all of the systems in your body that you know you will need to help you to push that red button.